Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back. I hope you're all doing well on this Wednesday afternoon. Now, before we get into today's video, a couple of things first. As always, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so. If you're a returning subscriber and you haven't subscribed, you're returning for the second time, third time, whatever the case is, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you leave this video. And also leave your thoughts below about our match tonight against Newcastle, Carabao Cup, St James's Park. Newcastle, the second time round in the space of a week. We're going to discuss all of that. But we do need to talk about Amorim. Ruben Amorim, because I think, obviously, again, non-Chelsea related, but we were in for Amorim some time ago at Chelsea. We now have Enzo Maresca, that I'm sure every Chelsea fan is really happy with. But we went into that game against Newcastle at the weekend. We knew that West Ham were playing Manchester United. We were hoping, Chelsea fans, we were praying that there was going to be some hope for us on Sunday when we go to Old Trafford and we play Manchester United. We all, as Chelsea fans, were hoping that Erik ten Hag was going to still be in the dugout for Manchester United on Sunday. He's been relieved of his duties. He's been sacked early this week. Amorim he's on his way. He's on his way. Let's say it like that. But I did read something before I come on here and done this video, that apparently Amorim is currently, there's apparently now weeks rather than days for him to be negotiated out of his contract with Sporting at the moment. So there is still a bit of hope that Ruud van Nistelrooy will be in charge. He's obviously got Leicester tonight to take charge of the team in the Carabao Cup, but there is hope that he will be still also in charge against Manchester United, for Manchester United against us on Sunday. Now, I'm going to be honest, it doesn't matter if Amorim's in charge, whether it's Ruud van Nistelrooy, whether it's Pep Guardiola, whoever. It doesn't matter to me, because we still have to focus on that game against Manchester United. We don't have the best of records there. We are going to do a full match preview of that later on this week. But I just wanted to say, we have to focus on this game tonight just as much as we do against the game on Sunday. Yes, we do have to maybe rest one or two players, but I actually think we have to guard against complacency against Newcastle. We can't really go into this game with the idea that we beat them, on Sunday convincingly. Let's be honest, we did play the better football against Newcastle at Stamford Bridge in the league. But I always feel when you play a team that you then have to go and play again in a quick succession, whether that's in a couple of days or a couple of a week's time or whatever, I do feel that you can be lured into a full sense of I don't know whether it's going to be an easy task for us tonight, which it won't be. I mean, this is a Newcastle team that is really in and out of form, a bit of mixed form at the moment. But, both teams could easily find themselves in the final if they play their cards right and they try and go for this competition. I think this is a competition that Enzo Maresca and even Eddie Howe has to take seriously. I think Eddie Howe, the expectation for Newcastle, they got into the Champions League last season. They didn't do as well as they probably thought they would do, but they have to go into this one with the same ambitions that we do. Maresca's first season at Chelsea, it'd be brilliant if he could end the season, top four finish in a League Cup or an FA Cup or some form of trophy. And I think this is probably the perfect opportunity to do that. So I think we have to guard against complacency. We don't have to, again, I know I think we beat Newcastle in the league last season, and a couple, or maybe the season before at St James's Park. But we have to go into this game, for me personally, with a lot of understanding that, yes, this might be a changed Newcastle squad. I actually believe they're going to go full strength. I think they'll go as strong as they can in terms of their lineup. But we also have to match them in our lineup as well tonight. I think we have to make sure we're going to make a couple of changes, but I don't think it needs to be wholesale changes. We've seen a lot of that with the Conference League, where Maresca likes to swap pretty much 11 for 11. I don't think we necessarily need to do that in this team tonight. I think we need to change a couple of things. I don't think the way that we played against Newcastle needs to change. I think that was it was a very controlled, composed approach on Sunday, and we were able to deal with whatever Newcastle were able to bring to us. Now, they were missing Anthony Gordon on Sunday. Isak had just come back from a really sort of long, lengthy injury, so he's still picking up a bit of form and building up his fitness again. But I do think even if Anthony Gordon is back in the team after his groin injury and Isak is still playing, we do not know that Newcastle can cause us threats. We know defensively we haven't been the best this season. So there's a couple of things that do worry me going into this game, especially from set pieces, corners, free kicks. I do worry that those are the moments, the mistakes that might happen and lead to a goal for Newcastle. But let me try and get into the lineup I would go with tonight. Let's see if we can. Let's do this, because I think the lineup has to be. It has to be a sensible one. Has to be a sensible lineup. So I would go with. Well, my thoughts already on Sanchez. I think every time I watch him, I think I said it on Sunday, I think I've said it the week before. Every time we watch Sanchez in goal, your heart almost falls into your stomach. You just don't really know what he's going to do with the ball, and it is a really nervy. If it's nervy for a fan sitting watching it at home or in the stands at Stamford Bridge or wherever the game is, it must be for those defenders that are stood in front of Sanchez. It must be the same worry. So for me, I'd have to go with Jurgensen in this one. We know that he's more preferred in the Conference League, and I'm assuming for these sort of cup, domestic cup competitions as well. I think we're going to see a lot more of him in that capacity. But I personally, again, if he pulls in a good performance tonight, I would personally look and consider him for Sunday's game as well, because I think we're going to need someone a lot more calmer, regardless of who's in a dugout for United at Old Trafford. But we need someone calm in goal on Sunday. And I'm not saying that Jurgensen doesn't make mistakes, because I think everyone's prone to those, and goalkeepers at most on a pitch of 11 is going to make probably one or two more mistakes than some of the other players. But we have to make sure that we give Jurgensen the opportunity to cement himself as the first choice goalkeeper. And the only way he's going to do that is if he's given the opportunities to play. And I think these kind of games, as I said, if he plays well tonight, I would consider him maybe for Sunday's game against United as well. But Jurgensen in goal for me. Now, I would rest Reece James. I think Reece James has to be rested, because we know already that from what Enzo Maresca has said, that Reece James is literally only playing one game a week. He won't be playing more than one game a week. We need to manage his minutes really well, manage his fitness, understand how much game time he can play. We expect him to play against Manchester United on Sunday. Malo Gusto again can come in. He's played a couple of the games. We thought he was going to play left back on Sunday against Newcastle, but actually surprised us, and it was Reece James there. But I think we rest Reece James for this game. We put Malo Gusto as our right back. I think the two centre backs, I kind of ummed and ahed about this, because I feel like Fofana potentially could go into that lineup, but I've gone for Tosin Adebayo as the other centre back, with Benoit Badiashile as the other one. I feel like those two, there's still question marks about our defenders. I mean, we could pick any of the four that we've got, Levi, Colwell, Wesley Fofana, Badiashile, Desazi as well, so make that five. We could go for any of those, and we don't really know which one out of the two is the most consistent yet. So I think we need to, that's for me, the key worry in our team is we still don't really have a trusted centre-back partnership that we can go with going forward, not just in this game, but other games as well. And I think tossing in this sort of game, one of the key things, like I said, about set pieces, corners and free kicks, we're going to need a lot of height. We're going to need a lot of height in this game, because you think about some of the players, Isak, Dan Burn, in the game that, from a Newcastle perspective, they're probably going to be getting forward every given opportunity for the corners. And, we need to make sure we've got some height, some stability that hopefully that will bring in the back line as well. I've gone for, now, I know a lot of people would probably go for Renato Vega, but I've gone for Marc Cucurella. I know that he got a couple of minutes recently with the Newcastle game. I think he started the Panathinaikos game, didn't he, as well? So he has got minutes. I would expect him to play against Manchester United on Sunday as well. But for me, Marc Cucurella has to go into this team. He has to be in the lineup. Someone for me personally that hasn't really put a foot wrong, but neither has Renato Vega. But I just think we've got to go with the more consistent backline approach. You know, Gusto has been doing that up until Reece James was back in the fold after his injury, and Cucurella has been putting in some really good performances for us. You know, not just in Chelsea colours, but also for his international counterpart for Spain as well. So, you know, me personally, I would go with Cucurella. Now, the two in midfield that I've gone for, I've rested Moises Caicedo, but I have gone with Lavia. Again, there'll be talk about Keenan Dewsbury Hall, Cesare Casadei as well. Carney Chukwuemeka, I think, is now available. We've got a full, you know, list of players that we can pick from. But again, if we're going to take this competition seriously, I think those are the sort of players for me that I would like to see come on, you know, second half, you know, early part of, you know, 60 minutes into the game, you know, 55 minutes into the game. If the game's going in our favour, you can drop Lavia, rest him, you know, give him opportunity to recover for the game on Sunday. Enzo's obviously been in and out of the team. He hasn't been starting the last couple of games, so I think he would start this game ahead of Caicedo, who we think will be in that team on Sunday. We could probably hopefully fully rest him for the whole game tonight. I don't think we're going to need him, but the two in midfield I would be confident with Lavia and Fernandes. If it doesn't work, as I said, you know, we've got options off the bench that I think we can use in Dewsbury Hall, and if we do need to go for Moises Caicedo, we can do. But as I say, Casadei is there as well, and also Carney Chukwuemeka that can play in that role. Now, left side, I have gone with Jadon Sancho because I feel like he might not be eligible. And I know it's an option to buy at the end of this loan deal, but I feel like he might not be eligible for the game on Sunday. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if he isn't eligible to play on Sunday, you'd expect him to get a 90-minute run out, or, you know, 90 minutes plus penalties tonight if it goes that far in this game, because I think he's someone that, again, you know, utilizes the space very well down that right side down the left side for us, and would hopefully make the right back, for whoever that is for Newcastle, think twice about getting forward, because I think he's got the capability, especially to take on defenders, to get the ball into the box, to run into the box. One thing I like to, or want to see more of with Jadon Sancho, is taking more opportunities, more risks, more shots, you know, testing the goalkeeper and seeing what we can do from that. And because, you know, Noni Madueke, if we could have a blend of Jadon Sancho and Noni Madueke as one player, I think we'd have a really good player on our hands, because Sancho for me is more better in terms of taking on defenders and getting that ball into the box. But I feel like Noni Madueke is the one that isn't as capable of doing that, but likes to take a lot more shots. And sometimes they come off, you know, we got to see it most recently. But for me, he's one of those players that he's not scared to take the shots on, Noni Madueke. And I think if we had the one player blended of the two with their qualities merged together, I think we'd have a really good player on our hands. But I've gone for Jadon Sancho on the left. I've gone for João Felix on as a 10 in the middle. Again, I feel like he has to be in that team, because I feel like it's really harsh on him, because when he comes on, again, another player that hasn't really been consistently put into the team, he has to, for me, get some opportunities going forward. And I feel like these are the kind of games where he has to showcase what he can do. You know, we've seen him in the Conference League, and albeit this is the Carabao Cup, I feel like this is still very good opposition, you know, Premier League opposition, for him to do what he needs to do. We're gonna, if he starts, you know, we expect him to be driving into the spaces and again linking up with the midfield here and doing what he knows he can do, which is the trickery, the magic, unlock that defense. We need that from him in this game if he starts as the 10. Now I have gone with Pedro Neto on the right side. I've rested Noni Madueke. I've also not just rested him because I think he'll start Madueke on Sunday, but I'm not 100% sure I would start Noni Madueke on Sunday either. And I think this would be a really good good option for us to be able to play Pedro Neto, maybe in the back of the mind that he might get the nod on Sunday as well. And I think Neto is slowly, rightfully so as well, slowly putting himself into the fold to start ahead of Noni Madueke. I see a little bit more from Neto than I do from Noni Madueke, especially when he gets into, you know, the key areas of the pitch and in the box. You know, I would trust maybe more in terms of this link-up play between Felix and Neto, which we got to see a bit of against Newcastle, and we have seen throughout the season so far. I'm liking that link-up between the two of them. So obviously the question is, we don't expect Felix to start on Sunday. We expect Cole Palmer to be there, but question marks there. A good headache for Maresca to have now. I have rested Nicholas Jackson, someone who's in brilliant form for Chelsea in terms of league. The stats are building up for him already in terms of goals and assists. But I have gone with Christopher Nkunku, who I felt, even though he had this opportunity on Thursday against Panathinaikos, didn't really do himself any favours in that game. He didn't really do anything apart from the penalty, but he didn't really make himself available at the right opportunities in the right areas of the pitch for me in terms of trying to score goals on Thursday against Panathinaikos. And I think if he does get the nod tonight, he needs to do a lot more of that and be able to make sure he's available. I just felt like he was kind of in between the centre backs a lot in that game and wasn't making any runs, to try and feed off any through balls or anything. He just didn't really fill me with a player that had, maybe it could be a lack of confidence, maybe because he's not really getting a good run of games. It could be frustration, but I feel like we need to see a lot more of that. And if this is a game where he's going to get those opportunities, he needs to take them tonight, because again, Nicholas Jackson, as I said, is picking up the brilliant part of his season, the form that he's in right now. He's almost undroppable, Nicholas Jackson. So Nkunku, whenever he's given an opportunity to get the nod ahead of Jackson, he's got to take them, because he's coming with a lot of potential. He got that really bad injury which kept him out for the season, but he's coming with this potential. We know that he's got the potential because when he scores the goals, they're there. We know that he's got it in him. So I think for me, he's got to be able to do that on a more consistent basis when he's given the opportunity to do that. And I would expect tonight we won't see Jackson. Maresca has surprised us in the past, but I feel like Nkunku would get the nod over Nicholas Jackson. But whatever happens, we have to go into this game with the idea that this is an opportunity for us to get a trophy, to come away with the season with a top 4 finish, and a trophy for me would be progress, whether it's small, very minimal progress, but it's still progress in terms of how we've been over the last two seasons or so. So I need us to be able to get the win convincingly as well. I've heard a couple of people already say that penalties, they'll take it on penalties, but I think we should be able to, based on form, based on how we played against Newcastle on Sunday, we should be able to take this game by the scruff of the neck and make sure that we kill the game early. My prediction will be 3-1 to Chelsea. I think we're not afraid of scoring goals, and I've always said this, and I'm going to keep saying this. My worry is defensively, we have to be switched on for 90 minutes. We can't switch off at the set pieces. We can't switch off and allow stupid goals like Curtis Jones scored against us at Anfield. We can't allow for those things to happen. For me, this is more important than the Conference League. This is a domestic cup that, for me, if we can win this, and we've been there, we've been so close last couple of seasons, we've got to the finals. We have to take this seriously and try and win it this season. And as I keep saying, minimum for me, top 4 finish. So we have to bear in mind we've got Manchester United on Sunday, but we have to focus tonight. For me, 3-1 prediction would be. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your predictions are. Your starting lineups would be as well in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that Linktree link at the bottom. And until tomorrow, we will have the match review of the game. And until then, stay safe and we'll be back soon.